Hey Scott,
How
how's it
are you?
going?
Good, mate. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. It's great to meet you and great to chat about this film because I had a lot of fun watching this one. And I guess to begin with, this idea of Stoicism, it was new to me and really interesting, I think, to explore. But for you as an actor, what was it about this concept that drew you in and just excited you?
Well, we we just wanted to make a film. You have to make a film which is going to appeal to people. So we needed to make a film with some action, but we didn't want to just make it just a random action film. So we had the idea about the philosophy of Stoicism, and then I came up with the character who kind of he's not quite he's not of he's not quite there as a human being as such that he's very different. He's got his philosophy. He's not a normal human being, and he's a man with high moral values, but he's a good man, and he's not even an anti-hero. He's just a good man who has got a faith, and his faith is stoicism.
Yeah, and he's a man of few words as well, but when he does talk in the film, it really carries meaning. And I think it really helps actually to rewatch this one because, a lot of what he says really, I think, informs what happens as the story goes. So to play a character like this, what was that like for you, where you are, as I said, a man of few words for a lot of the film?
Well, I quite like that, and there's less lines to learn as well. So um, it was good, and I had the idea of coming up, giving him a kind of Celtic, Nordic, Danish sort of accent as well, which wasn't quite my own. So I looked at films with Mad Mikkelsen, and I kind of, you imitate as an actor, you imitate people in a little way. So I didn't base the character on him, but that was a starting point. His accent or a dilution of his accent was a starting point, and it was just great. I mean, it was last year when we filmed it, and it was really good. It was really, really fantastic. And I come from, you know, in the past, the soap background and stuff. So it was great to be able to let fly and really get into the character because you don't have time in soaps. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of inspirations, this is a very grounded film, but Aurelius, he's almost Terminator-like, which I think is something people are gonna, have a lot of fun when they watch this one. But did you look anywhere, whether it be film or TV franchise, for inspiration with this one?
I mean, when you mentioned the Terminator, maybe subliminally there was an
Hmm.
element of that. Just the way he's not he's not emotional. Do you know what I mean? He's not emotional at all. There's probably only one part after he's been beaten up and shot a few times that he screams and blows his whistle. But in general, so the Terminator is a really, really good reference for it. Totally.
Absolutely. And in terms of research, this world of Stoics, was that something you delved into? Because I know obviously you were a producer on the project as well, so I'm guessing to get it right was important too.
Well, where I live, we came up with the idea. So me and John, we sat down, and he he has an interest in that, and so I had to study quite a bit of it. And I'd noticed as well, it's quite interesting because some people in our present history at the moment who are into Stoicism are Bill Gates, the guy who owns Amazon. There's loads and loads of people who actually live by that moral code. And I'm not saying I've tried to live by that moral code lately, but it is quite a good highway to life living like that. So I got quite in depth reading books, the Marcus Aurelius and stuff like that. So it is very, very interesting.
Yeah, and to go back to you being a producer, and to executive produce a project like this, what sort of challenges and new kind of experiences did that bring up for you? As you said, you've had a long acting career,
Yeah.
but to come on board like this, how did that differ for you?
You know what it is? That when you're an actor, you turn up and you've got your lines to learn, and there's no other components to it really. You just do a good job. With this, I had to find the locations, and luckily I've got a lot of good friends who've got big places, and we got very very lucky. A friend of mine had just purchased a couple of £1 million house in Wales, and a couple of million quid, as you know yourself, gets you a lot in Wales. Do you know what I mean? It's not like London. So that was quite easy. The challenging part, I guess, was it's all the tiny, it's the insurances, and then as further down the line when you finish in a film. It's things like deliverables and all these things. It's very, very complicated. And you know what? I'm proud of us both because we hadn't got a clue, to be fair, when we started. Do you know, we knew how to make a film, but we didn't know what would be involved in a film after we'd made the film. And we learned on the job, and we're so proud that we've got Saban involved. Do you know what I mean? They're amazing, and it was a dream come true. We didn't When we started this, we didn't have expectations as such. We just wanted to make a quirky little film which would appeal to some people, and it would be a reasonably, a good watch
Yeah.
within that we had. And now we've got a global distribution thing going on, which is amazing.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Saban actually, because they put out a lot of great, particularly over in the States, a lot of these action movies and stuff. So to work with them and to bring this to a much bigger audience than maybe you anticipated, that must have been such an exciting day when that news came in.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. I always try and manage my expectations being an actor, do you know what I mean? But like I said before, we far exceeded what we expected. I mean, whatever happens, the film is a good film, do you know what I mean? And it's a appealing film and it will appeal to lots of people, but it's going to be seen by the whole of the world, which is above what we expected. I guess what we expected was probably get it out in the UK. Do you know what I mean? But to get it out in America, which is such a huge market and such a huge audience, is a dream come true. It really is.
That's awesome. And you got a great supporting cast in this one surrounding you, but to have someone like
Yeah.
Jason Flemyng, he's got those ties to those iconic gangster movies from the 2000s. So to bring him in, what was that process like? And how excited were you to have him on board as well, even just for the what we see?
Right, Josh, you're asking the right question here. That was of my of this whole thing. That was my favorite day because when the whole business is about contact, so we could contact agents and they wouldn't. They might listen, they might not. Pitch the idea to a couple of actors that I'd worked with before. James Cosmo is in Braveheart. I did it via his agent though because I don't have his digits, and he turned it down. Maybe he'd have said yes if he'd have known, I was doing it. But we got Jason through another of the producers who was friends with him, and that's the way that worked. You know what I mean? But when his name was mentioned, I'd been pitching to actor friends of mine from the UK, lots of people that you would know. I'm not naming names, but I think they wished they were doing this. They wished they'd have done it now. They kind of said no. And when Jason's name was mentioned, I was like, nah, you never get Flemyng. You'd never get Flemyng. I'm a big fan of Flemyng. I think he's a great actor, and he's worked with Sean Connery, Johnny Depp, Brad Pitt. I mean, you just don't get better. He's in Deadpool and Wolverine, isn't he now? And so I was just ridiculously excited. And when he said yes, I still didn't believe it until the day he turned up. Do you know what I mean? So he just turned up and sounded like, wow, that's Jason Flemyng. This is awesome. So it was great. That puts a massive smile on my face even now to see some of the posters that have been done with me and him on it, and Bruce Payne as well.
Yeah.
Bruce Payne, I was a fan of Bruce Payne's for years, and I kept googling him, thinking, "Where's Bruce gone?" And I said this to him. I flew to Rome recently and went and spent 3 days with him because he lives in Rome at the moment. And I just said to him, I said, mate, I was a fan of yours in the 90s. He stole Passenger 57 all day, didn't he? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? And Dungeons and Dragons and Absolute Beginners. And I said, I kept thinking about you all the time, randomly. And now you're in my film with me. And we do some good scenes together as well.
Yeah, I'm not going to spoil those for anyone because obviously I know that's later on in the film, but it's such a great dynamic between everyone that your character crosses paths with, and of course things do get increasingly more violent, and are very
Yeah.
bloody, a lot of action. How did you find that side of things as well to delve into that?
Well, I haven't done much of that apart from on stage for years. So it was good. And over Christmas, I was doing a show over Christmas, a theatre show, before we started filming. And I realized I knew I had to get in shape. Do you know what I mean? I was about 1.5 stone overweight. And in 4 weeks over Christmas, when everyone's partying, everyone's drinking, everyone's eating junk food, I'm just going to the gym, I'm dieting. And when I turned up on set, John Eckersley, the director, was like, "Wow, what have you done?" And I'm like, "I know." So that was an important component in it. We had a guy who was one of the stunt coordinators on Fast and Furious, so not I don't really like long and drawn out fight scenes, and then they get really boring. Do you know what I mean? So we kept them we kept them easy. I'm not amazing at remembering fight scenes or dances and stuff, so he took it lightly on me. But it after it was the film was cut, it works. Do you know what I mean? And it was quick in and out, quick in and out. So it was that was actually good fun, good fun.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, I know action fans are going to love that and the way things play out. And, I don't want to put the cart before the horse and use the F word franchise, but I feel like
Yeah.
this does have franchise potential. There's more stories to tell with this character, maybe. Is that something you've given any thought to? And would you like to return to this character, do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Well, there's references in the film. We initially wrote a film before that, which was based off one of my ideas, and it's referenced in the film at the end of the film when one of the girls asks him where he's going after this. So you've watched it. I won't spoil it. So there is potential for another film, and that film's already wrote. We just couldn't at the time do it because of budget. Really, we needed something which was more compact. So that is a more expansive film, and it's a really good film, actually. A really good film. There might be a possibility of making it now, actually. We'll see how this one goes.
Oh, I certainly hope so. And now you've had this taste of action. I know you said, it's quite a difficult thing to sink your teeth into, that fight choreography. Would you like to do more action roles? Do you see that being, a path your career heads down now? Now you've had almost a taste of it with this one?
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt, without a doubt. Me and my daughter love watching. We love action films. We love horror films. I've got a few ideas along them lines as well. So it's definitely something that I want to pursue, 100%.
Yeah, and to work with Jonathan, I know you've mentioned him a couple of times, and I think as a director, he does a great job on this film. And I could tell from reading his director's statement, this was a project he was really, passionate about as well. So that dynamic between the two of you, what was that like, both before and during making the film?
Well, we're good mates. We fell out a lot, to be honest. But after after it's all said and done, we pulled something off, and from a little town in the northwest of England, and then North Wales to get the film out. It's quite a big achievement, and whatever happens with it, it's really really good. And we, me and him are like, you'll know the reference like Jack and Vera from Coronation Street. Like, me and him have a bit of that, but there's a lot of love going on between us now these days, for sure, without a doubt. We pulled something really good off.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've mentioned the soaps a couple of times, and obviously I'm a Brit, so big fan of those. Were
Oh
those
yeah.
is that something you would ever return to, do you think? I know you've done Emmerdale, you've done Coronation Street, but would
Yeah.
you ever go back to one of those? Because again, like you said, it's a very different type of acting, but one maybe you enjoy, would you say?
I mean, you like the stability, you like the comradeship, you like the teamwork. And there's a lot of exciting stuff that you can do outside it. So you never know. You never know. Um, but if not, we crack on, we make another film. Maybe Stoic 2, who knows?
Yeah, I'd love to see that one. And just finally for you, Scott, what would you tell our readers about what they can expect from Aurelius and this film? What if they're big action fans, what they're going to get from this one?
It's a film with action, it's a film with quirkiness, it's a film with a little bit of a soul. And I think Aurelius is a really there's even though he's kind of a violent killer, he only kills the bad guys. Do you know what I mean? He's got a really good heart as well. So I'm hoping that the people who watch the film like Aurelius for sure.
Yeah, well, I think they will. Like I said, Scott, I had a great time watching this one as an action fan, and I think people are going to like exploring this mythology, and they're going to want more. So I hope you guys are going to be able to get on with that as soon as possible.
Oh, thanks, Josh. Thanks for watching. Appreciate it.
No, thank you so much for your time. Great to meet you, Scott. Good luck on this one.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.